Biden and Trump are neck and neck right now in the 2024 presidential race. The Decision Desk polling average showing the presumptive Republican nominee Trump is just 1 point ahead of the incumbent Democrat, 45 to 44%. So really a toss-up right now, at least according to the polling. But there's one historian who has a near perfect track record in presidential elections, correctly predicting 9 out of the last 10. We have him here live. Welcome, Dr. Allan Lichtman. It's so good to see you, esteemed history professor at American University. I appreciate your time tonight.
Great to be with you.
I know a month ago you joined NewsNation Live and said a lot would have to go wrong for Biden to lose, but a lot has happened in the last month. So right now, what is the formula saying? What is your prediction for who will win a second term in the Oval?
Well, here's how it works. It's an alternative to the polls, which have no predictive value 4 to 5 months in advance. And with all due respect, an alternative to the pundits who don't have a scientific basis for their opinions. My 13 keys to the White House is based on a scientific study of every American presidential election since the election of Abe Lincoln in 1860, and has been right since I predicted Ronald Reagan's reelection in April 1982 during the worst recession to date since the Great Depression. And the way it works, if 6 or more of the keys go against the White House party, they are predicted losers. And I haven't made a final prediction, but you're right. I still stand by my point that a lot would have to go wrong for Biden to lose. Remember, 6 keys and he's out. Right now, he's down 2 keys. My mandate key, because Dems lost U.S. House seats in 2022, and the incumbent charisma key, because he's no Franklin Roosevelt or JFK. So what are the 4 keys that could turn to predict his defeat? And they'd all have to turn, barring something very, very strange.
What are those 4? What are those 4 keys?
I'll tell you right now. Third party, which means RFK Jr., when the polls stabilize, would have to poll at least a consensus of 10%. Social unrest, which I thought was safe, but then we saw a lot of protests this spring. Will they reemerge again? And of course, the 2 shakiest keys, foreign policy / military failure and foreign policy / military success. So forget the polls, forget the pundits, keep your eye on the big picture of presidential elections as measured by the keys, which are based on the simple proposition that American presidential elections are votes up or down on the strength and performance of the White House party.
Wow. Okay, that is really interesting, and I appreciate the concept and idea of these keys. What are you tracking right now? I mean, are there any issues you see on the horizon that really could impact some of these keys turning over? I mean, I see both of those foreign policy ones, and I would imagine Democrats would be nervous.
Democrats should be very nervous about the 2 foreign policy keys, although by themselves they would not portend a Democratic defeat. But things would really have to turn around, and Biden would have to broker a really successful ceasefire, and things would have to turn around in Ukraine, either the Ukrainians making gains or, most unlikely, some kind of peace agreement. Those are the 2 shakiest keys. I think less shaky is the notion that RFK Jr. is going to stabilize at 10% or higher. I think that's very unlikely, or that we're going to get social unrest like we saw when I was in school in 1968 and 1972.
Okay. And both candidates, meanwhile, this weekend and before, we're seeing these big money fundraisers going on right now. Do endorsements from celebrities, from George Clooney and Julia Roberts, from billionaire benefactors, David Sachs, et cetera, in Silicon Valley, does that have any real sway with the American public?
Here's the truth, Natasha. You could take all those traditional indicators, endorsements, fundraising, ads, debates, dirty tricks, all the twists and turns of the campaign that I know you in the media have to cover because you got to cover it every day. And you can take all of that and do with it what the great philosopher David Hume said you should do to works of superstition. Consign them to the flames. They have 0 predictive value.
Got it.
Go ahead.
I got it. George Clooney is not gonna flip a key. I certainly see that. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.